11th of July every year is commemorated as the World Population Day. The idea of this event was conceived on the 11th of July 1987, approximately the day the world population hit the 5 billion mark. It's a day to raise awareness on important population and development issues. These population issues of inequality, environmental degradation, conflict and wars has become increasingly visible now that the world population stands at over 7.2 billion, as the resources to support the number is fast depleting. Competition becomes inevitable as individuals and nations across different divides strive to survive on the scarce and unevenly distributed resources, creating a stream of conflict and chaos, with women, children, and young people at the receiving end. Addressing the plight of these vulnerable populations in emergencies is the focus of this year's event.
The task of addressing the needs of the vulnerable population in emergencies is a collective effort by the government at all levels, the stakeholders, the media, and that is why we are appealing to you.
According to the United Nations Population Fund, over 50 million persons are forcibly displaced from their homes as a result of conflict and disasters, with almost 75% being women and girls. Nigeria has contributed profoundly to these numbers. In the past decade, Nigeria has had to contend with emergencies from several crisis situations, from the Niger Delta militancy to the nationwide flood of 2012. And now the Boko Haram insurgency leading to a rise in internally displaced persons.
The need to set up different permanent structures across the geopolitical zones in the country with modern and equipped facilities to cater for the needs of internally displaced persons. Most importantly, there is the need to address the causes of these conflicts, the conflicts that generate these internally displaced persons.
One cannot also forget to mention the Chibok girls who became collateral damage in the crossfire.
Our Chibok girls have stayed way beyond an acceptable amount of time in the hands of savages. It is now time for their government to bring them back.
It is shocking to know that a population that is not allowed to contribute much in decision-making are the ones who suffer the consequences of the fallout of these decisions, facing greater risk of abuse and exploitation in the crisis that erupts. What can be done about this?
The solution to that is for women to get more engaged in decision-making processes. I mean, get into political office, be actively involved in discussions that affect the running of the country and even the continent and the world at large. If we have more women in positions, they would be able to make decisions that would improve the well-being of women and children.
The government has to provide a barrier to stop anything that has to do with exploitation, exploiting children, exploiting women, and especially in the area of child labor.
If Nigeria could avoid this crisis, her huge population size combined with her natural resources can become an advantage in her quest for development. Mr. Benga Bamiduro, an author and productivity consultant, analyzes the situation.
If you look at this world population of about 7.2 billion, I don't have the figures with me right now, about 5 countries are likely to be up to 10 or 20% of that figure. I'm talking in terms of China, in terms of India, in terms of Japan, in terms of USSR and USA. And all these countries that I've just listed, economically they are not poor. They are all doing very, very well. So Nigeria can join the league of these nations. If you look at our current vision 2020, in which we want to become one of the 20 largest economy in the whole world. What is the advantage of this to Nigeria? Like China, their products, they don't need to look for market elsewhere. The population alone is enough to consume products that are being churned out by the industries, Nigeria will have the market too. But as of now, why it seems as if our population is a cost is because industrially, as of now, we are nowhere. We are not producing anything. Before now, we have been producing, but as of today, our industries have been closed, and majority of them have been closed down.
Events like this provide an opportunity for citizens, government, and policymakers alike to analyze the present situation and project a viable solution for the future. But how much of these projections are actually implemented is left for the future to tell.